Hi there and welcome to the 7th row of my 30-minute workout series. Now don't worry if you've not done the first 6, you've got 23 more to go after this one. Now today's one is actually kind of up to you. What I'm saying is you can do it how you like. What I suggest is that you pick a stroke rate and a pace and you stick to it for the full 30 minutes rather than trying to do a kind of an intervals up and downy kind of thing. The video you're going to see is me doing it in 2021 when I did it at 24 strokes a minute. And my pace from a 2K pace point of view, don't worry, is 2K plus 12, but if you don't know about a 2K training pace, basically it was like started off about 7 out of 10, ended up about 9 out of 10. So it's a really kind of tough workout that really pushes you up there, but it didn't actually leave me on the floor at the end, okay? So that's kind of if you can work out from a pace guide, all right? So, going to do a 4-minute warm-up before this row, and as always we have to set up our machine. So on a concept 2, that means going to your drag factor and setting it to where you want it to be. If you don't know anything about drag factor, set it to like 4 or 5 for the time being. Too low isn't the problem, putting up to 10 is kind of the problem. And then you can watch the video I have here about drag factor. If you're on a non-concept 2, just set the resistance so that you get a nice feel from the stroke, but it doesn't feel like you're having to fight against it when you take each of your strokes. Next up, if you're able to, set your monitor to eye height so you don't have to look up and you don't have to look down. And finally, if you're able to, then please set your foot plates to a point where you're able to come to the front of the machine with your shins pointing vertically, okay? If you're set too high, you might not be able to get there. If you're set too low, you might go scooting past there, and that causes power leaks and things. So we're going to do this around about 20 strokes a minute, and I want you to think about, to start, the amount of power from your legs to be as though you were just standing up from a squat, okay? And we're going to think about the connection, pushing with your feet at the same time your handle connects to the machine, just for the first minute or so, all right? Here we go then, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. I don't know if you heard that, but it's bonfire night here in the UK today, or tonight. So there's fireworks going off all the time. So if you hear any explosions, don't worry about it. It's just fireworks. So what I mean is that you push with your feet at the same time the handle connects to the machine. By connected to the machine, I mean it makes it go. Hopefully that kind of makes enough sense. But it comes down to body position and timing. So timing, you want to make sure that you get it right. So you push and connect at the same time. But body position, you also want to be sure you have that forwards tilt towards the front of the machine and straight arms as you push your feet and as your hands connect to the machine, okay? And that way the power is able to go from your feet and you can surge that power in, okay? So a minute done, and if you've got that timing feeling okay, you start to think about adding a bit more power. I kind of start to say for this warm-up, you want to be working as hard as if you were walking up 10 flights of stairs. So you know your heart rate would be up, probably be breathing a little bit harder, but you wouldn't have to stop. You're not exhausted from doing it. So that's kind of a 5 out of 10 intensity. So when it comes to the main row, if you're going to try and do the 24 strokes a minute at quite a high pace, then you kind of want to be going about 6 or 7 seconds faster than you're rowing right now. Okay, so 2 more strokes. We'll put 1 foot in the ground. There we go. My straps are a little looser today, so I'm able to just flick them out of the strap, put it on the ground. Now this just helps with that opening and closing of the hips, because you're not as bound up with 2 feet strapped in here. So you can think about that forwards tilt, that lean into the front of the machine. Hang on, let's take one more here. Soft feet. Can I get it back in? Oh no, I can't. Ah, smarty pants. There we go. Right. Said before, don't worry if you lose a few seconds in the transition here. But the other thing about having just one leg strapped in is that it's easier to roll forwards, to get that shin all the way into a vertical position. So you can kind of improve your flexibility a little bit this way. Okay, so both feet back in. Come on, legs straight and roll with your back and arms.
So swing over your hips, pull in your arms, then out with your arms, swing back over your hips. But it's important you pick up that initial strain or tension, whatever you want to call it, the weight of the flywheel, with the swing of your back first, and then you pull in your hands. One more here. Okay, let's roll to the front. So I'm going to tighten my straps on the way. Forwards tilt, straight arms, just press out the front. Not too hard, okay? Because this is really about practice for holding this position, the forwards tilt. So if I go nice and soft, I can really concentrate on holding the forwards tilt and arms straight as I connect to the front. If you try and push too hard, the tendency is then to kind of launch against it. I just want you to practice being in that position for the initial leg drive. So, last thing to say is the reason I'm in cycling shorts is I'm going to do today's row and then I'm on Zwift right afterwards, just in case you're like, why is he in cycling shorts? He's rowing. So, like I say, I'm about to get into the video that I recorded in 2021 of me doing the row, where I'm doing it at 24 strokes a minute and 2K plus 12 pace, in case you're wanting to follow along with me. I will see you in just over half an hour for the cool down.
Just a quick reminder that this 30-minute row is an as you wish row. I'll be doing it at 24 strokes a minute, but you can row this how you like. Now, I did this on RowPro, so in the video you're about to see, don't be too alarmed when I start making references to computer software. Enjoy your row.
Okay, so keep an eye on your monitors. I will talk you through this as it happens for me, but obviously you'll see it on screen. Attention, go. Oh, we didn't get much time there, did we? Okay. So, like I say, my intention is to do this at 24 strokes a minute, 2K plus 12, which means I should be rowing around about 157 pace. Now, you don't have to follow along with me. This is Session 7 is like an elective. Nope, backed off a bit. It's an elective one for the week, so you can row this at whatever pace, but I'm just throwing out the suggestion. Sorry, I'm just pausing because I'm kind of all over the place, pace-wise. Just try to get a hang of it. I just want to hold, if I can hold 157 the whole way, I'll be happy. So how many? Can't quite see. There's 7 of us rowing. Right now, Sam is in the lead, Mark Evans in second, I'm in third place, slightly ahead of James Munday. I'm hoping that, as being one of the 10K sessions was 2 times 20 minutes at this pace and stroke rate, that half an hour in a single sausage isn't a bad idea. That extra 10 minutes will certainly add to the intensity, and unless I get into a proper bun fight at the end of it, then it'll just be a case of holding this rate and pace the whole way through. So now that we're coming up for 3.5 minutes into this, and hopefully you're warmed up, any niggles that your body may have will either have eased up or really revealed themselves as proper injuries that mean you either need to slow down to protect or stop altogether. But it's also the right time to just start thinking a little bit more about your technique before you kind of get anything a little bit loose into the habit for the next half hour. Oh well, 25 minutes at least. So I have been trying to break up various aspects of technique over the past 6 days to try and let you understand my thought processes behind why a good technique is there, or why I talk about it all the time. And it really comes down to efficiency and injury prevention. So, injury prevention should, I'm hoping, make enough sense that you want to make sure to not get injured while rowing, but also that you don't find an accumulation of rowing just causes strains and aches once you've cooled down. You can take care of that partly through a good stretching routine, but it's best to take care of it at the source rather than trying to fix it afterwards. But efficiency is kind of, if you can think about it from an efficiency point of view, it will help you get fitter and faster, and then just as a byproduct, because you're rowing with a good technique, the whole injury prevention thing will come into play anyway. And really, it's all about body angles and how you put the power into the machine. So, from a body angle point of view, The important things to always think about is that you're only ever really going from a 1 o'clock on the clock face lean forwards to a 11 o'clock lean backwards. It's worthwhile videoing yourself and having a look to see what's going on, because it's easy to think you're in the right angles, but then you watch it back and suddenly lots becomes apparent. Like, the two main things that you'll see are people who finish a lot deeper than 11 o'clock. Or, I mean, an over lean at the front can happen from tired people who just go, oh, like that. But that's not what I mean. An over tilt at the front is normally an issue with like an extra lean. That's my issue, where I come forwards and then as I get to the front I kind of dip and that ruins my stroke. But the other error you will see is people who come forwards with the greatest of intentions, but then just as they start to drive their legs into the machine, they'll swing back too soon, ruining the point of that forward lean. You can often see that happen because people will look up. So if you look up, it promotes that braking, that early swing over your back. So if you can just think about 1 o'clock forwards, 11 o'clock back, that will take you a lot closer to a good technique than a lot of people out there. The next thing is your arms. Making sure at the front of the machine they're straight. You don't want a bend in your elbows. Straight and relaxed. I often talk about zombies and how they're nice and loose and relaxed with their arms, and that's how you should come forwards. If I was in your rowing room and I saw your triceps and forearms popping on your arms, I'd tell you to relax. Because that's a good sign that you're coming forwards rigid. You want nice, loose shoulders and loose arms, ready to brace against the handle as you push with your feet. So you're not pulling on the handle as you go through the stroke. You hang, you brace at the front of the stroke. It's only at the back of the stroke that you finally pull with your arms. So you're straight pull, straight pull, straight pull. See the amount of time that my arms remain straight for. All right, halfway there. We're at the Bon Jovi point. Good going. But it's still important that you think about that pull. You want to come in with enough power, obviously, to add force into the stroke, but also so that the handle bounces away from your body again. So if you finish with the handle around sternum height, what's happened to Sam? So you finish sternum height, elbows through your sides, wrists flat, then that creates a springiness to your arms that sends them forwards only like a couple of inches, but it's enough, that springiness, to initiate the return of your arms. So all you need to do is continue that momentum of the forward movement, and then as your arms come out, get them into that nice straight zombie position, nice and loose and relaxed. And what happens is that the momentum of your arms going away helps to trigger your back coming out of that 11 o'clock layback. So your arms go And then your back gets into that forward lean by the time your hands are past your knees. And that is the trick for making sure you don't overlean at the front. Once your arms are straight and you have that forward lean, you don't move your back anymore. You just stay in that angle. And that return really is all about efficiency. Your arms naturally bounce forwards in the same rhythm you pull them in at, which then triggers that forward lean. And then as your body weight is now going forwards, all you have to do is bend your knees and you will return to the front of the machine with hardly any energy expenditure from other muscles. And that's where the efficiency thing comes in. You want to make sure you're never wasting energy in the stroke or losing energy. So the power generation comes not from your arms pulling the handle, but from your legs pushing the machine away from you. And if you think about it in those terms, pushing the machine away rather than pushing yourself backwards, then it's easier to get the right sensation of getting the power from your legs through your body, through your arms, and into the handle. Because what you don't want to do is either lose power by not connecting your feet to the handle at the same time, or fighting other muscles. So you really want just your legs to feel as though they're working at the start of the stroke here. You will feel tension as you brace your arms against the handle, but you shouldn't feel the need to fight it with your arms. If you do, if the stroke is so heavy that you have to grab to get it moving, then chances are your drag factor or resistance is set too high. I say or resistance for those not on a concept 2. I'm not saying that drag factor is the same as resistance. So arms straight and push with the feet, with the legs. And that forward lean that I'm so chatty about is how the power gets up and into your arms without your back fighting it either. So a good posture and a forward lean with a braced core, and then straight arms as you push the machine away from you, and the power should surge into the machine. You really should hear it accelerate, rip through the air. 5 minutes to go. 120 strokes from each. And then once your leg drive is about halfway done, that's when you finally swing over your back, tilting, hinging over your hips from a forward lean to backward lean. And that tilt, swing, rock of your back adds power into the machine. Certainly enough that you don't want to lose by swinging your back before you drive with your legs. And then right as you start that backswing, that's when you finally pull the handle in to round about sternum height. And again, that sternum height, you will see other rowers finishing in different places, often very high. Whoops. And apart from the fact you could let go of the handle, like I just did, it also puts all of your arm force into your biceps and forearms rather than your lats taking the fair share of the force. So if you don't have the strength or muscle fitness to finish high, you're headed towards a torn bicep tennis elbow, and possibly just a slower stroke. Similar, but often common in water rowers is finishing with the elbows out instead of through, which for the on the water people that may be cool, but it puts the force into your delts. Again, they aren't as big and powerful as your lats, so you may injure them. So a slight flare out of your elbows is okay in order to keep your wrists flat and help with your elbows coming through, which then creates that spring forwards of your arms. Whew. Crikey, there's so much more I could say, but watch all of my workout videos across this month and you'll hear it all. One more stroke. Oh.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. I actually did it down at 20 strokes a minute and 2K plus 18 today because I've got this Zwift ride coming up with my good old cycling shorts. So hopefully this run about enough time since my havering at the end of the main video and this little introduction to the cool down that you've had a chance to get a drink and get yourself ready to go into this cool down. So I'm going to basically just do this at that warm-up pace, that kind of 5 out of 10 walking upstairs pace, just to let yourself cool down. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. So run about 18, 20 strokes a minute. Enough that you can still feel you're connecting and you're putting in some effort here. Enough that you can then let your body cool down, but not so much that you feel your heart rate starting to climb again and it starts to feel like effort again. That's not what you want. This is meant to give you a chance for your body to cool down, or at least to slow down rather than just stop. But also just your brain, you want to kind of just disengage from any tough effort you've just been doing or concentrating on stroke rates. And then you also just use this as a kind of a reminder of what your stroke should feel like when it's under control. So the thing about a time trial is that as much as I talk a good game when it comes to technique, see for the last, say, minute, maybe 2 minutes, depending on the length of a time trial. I mean, I said before, I'd stand on my head if I could squeeze an extra couple of seconds pace out of the machine. So technique, as you fatigue and as you're screaming into a finish, on the rowing machine anyway, can often be quite ropey. So a cool down is a good time to just get back into the best endeavors of your technique so that this is what your brain remembers as a good technique instead of flailing around like a dying salmon in the search of an extra second. Okay, 3 more strokes and I'm done. You don't have to stop cooling down, of course, you can keep on going. Or you can join me for some stretching. Now, don't just stop, wander off and don't do any stretching. Please at least do your quads and your hamstrings. Not in the shower, don't want you to slip and fall over, so don't do that. But just take a moment to stretch your quads and your hamstrings. Or you can join Stretchy John, who's appeared, and he'll take you through some guided stretching. Or you can follow me on the machine if you don't have space to stretch, accompanied by the sounds of fireworks going off. Okay, so we'll start off with the hamstrings. So
Feet in the straps, it's a little bit loose so you can get a good angle between your feet and your legs. Hands in the air, fold forwards. So I'm being quiet to see if you can hear any fireworks going off, but just as I stop, they all stop. In the UK, you see on the November the 5th, we have a thing called Guy Fawkes Day, just in case, just for the international people. And this is to celebrate a foiled plot to blow up the Houses of Parliament. It's a strange thing to celebrate, really, isn't it? But anyway, so yeah, so whereas in America you have like 4th of July is your big fireworks, or like Thanksgiving maybe. I don't know if you do fireworks on Thanksgiving. But yeah, for us, the big fireworks thing is November the 5th. Right, let's do glutes next. So one leg up on the rail, bring your other foot over the top, heel up against the crook of your knee, bring this knee across your body so it's in line, so you go face, knee, foot, hold it in place with the other arm, and then rotate round into this glute, okay? So ideally, so you're kind of facing away from you, kind of side on. So I'm trying to work out how to explain this for podcast people. But yeah, so, and then as long as you keep this knee in position up and kind of, you're giving some kind of a stretch across your body, you should really feel it down there in the glute. Oh, swap legs, same thing, but other leg. Oh, rotate round. And just do kind of check your angles and how much force you're putting across your leg, and just make sure you're getting a good stretch in there. You don't want to just be sitting here and flapping around and it's of no use. You just want to make sure and still get a good stretch in here. Otherwise you're just wasting your time. Right, let's get off and do quads. So stand up next to the machine. You can rest a finger on the monitor if you wish. Flick your foot up. Hold your heel up against your backside. Then have a little bit of force pulling that heel up against your backside to just help that stretch. Stay close enough to the machine so that if, like me, you suddenly wobble, you can quickly put a hand out and touch the monitor to just steady yourself. This should be a good exercise in balance. Swap feet. Doing it all on one foot. Oh, no, missed. There we go. So not only should your balance improve the more you do this, it's also just, it is a good strengthening exercise for your stabilizer muscles, because it's all very good stretching and doing things, or even like doing squats and whatever, but it's like using a machine to do squats. You don't use your stabilizing muscles if you use a machine, or like bench presses on a machine. You're much better to do a bench press with like dumbbells, because then you have to use your stabilizing muscles safely, of course. Please don't follow me if you're going to drop them. Don't do that. Right, hip flexors next. So one knee on the ground, toes up behind you, other foot on the ground with your knee above your foot. Then with a good posture, just push that hip forwards. See how I just move that hip forward, so I'm opening up the angle of my back leg and bringing this knee across the top of my other foot to just help get a stretch right up here into my hip flexor. Oh, I can feel it's all nice and stretchy. It might go down a little bit into your quad, but it shouldn't be like down in the meat of your quad. Maybe just like up here, just as it goes down. Oh. Swap legs, and I'm not going to do the hovering the leg off the ground one this time. So just the same thing, push that. I want to make sure and get a decent stretch into this hip flexor, and I just feel that when I do the alternate one with the knee off the ground, I don't quite get as good a stretch into my hip flexor. So apologies if you're like, what's he on about? This is the first of his videos. I want to know about that other stretch. Look at like the end of row 6 and you'll see me doing it. And in fact, most of the other ones you'll see me doing it, but just today, I just feel, especially if I'm going to go on the bike next, that I want to make sure that my hip flexors are nicely stretched off, ready for a tough cycle on Zwift. Right, next up, let's do forearms. So hands in front of your face, push them together, bring them down in front of your chest, carry on pushing them together. You should find you get a nice stretch between your forearms and your fingers. So the pause there was I suddenly realised that when I designed my little zombie carrot t-shirt, he's got a green top. Up at the top, a little bit here is green. Now, I don't know if you've realised this, well, you might be new to the channel or not, but I film all this on the green screen. I'm not actually here. This is actually all done on the green screen. So that should be completely see-through, and you should see the background through the green bit there. So there you go. giving away my TV magic. Next up, shoulders. Yeah, I just, so sorry, that doesn't help for the podcast people. Put your hand straight in front of you, bring it across your body. Use your other hands to kind of brace it against your body so it comes straight across. And you should feel you get a nice stretch in your shoulders. Yeah, I used to record these videos in a CrossFit gym and it worked really well. It was a nice setting and yeah, it worked nicely. But unfortunately got condemned. And so that then kind of stopped RowAlong for almost a year because I was like, what do I do? I can't film it anywhere. And I tried to do something against like a curtain in a studio and it just didn't work. And then I thought, hang on, I've got a studio. All I have to do is paint a wall green and I can do it as a green screen. Swap arms. So this is why you'll see me rowing in lots of different spaces. I think at first I tried to pretend that it was real, but I think it's probably, it's more fun to own up to because then it means I can do things like the Halloween row I did in 2021 where I was like in a haunted forest, or if I'm like in a, like this year's one I was in like a zombie underground or whatever. It's more fun that way. Right, so shoulders done. And it means I can, give me requests, tell me what kind of background you want and I'll pick one. So biceps next, put your hands behind you so you're a ski jumper. It could be on a ski jump and then rotate your thumbs outwards and that should stretch the long head of your bicep. Problem is it has to be, I have to find a background that's like this one, like is that kind of, it's quite a deep background into it. That's why there's a guy that designs lots of just kind of 3D rooms. Most of the rooms that you see me rowing in are actually just computer generated ones. But they work perfectly, so it has to be like a proper side-on one as though you can have this shot in it. So, but by all means, send me something. Send me a photo of your gym. If you can try and work out this kind of a framing of your gym that's empty, that doesn't have someone going in a still. Hang on, let's do triceps next. So hand up in the air, down your back, like that. There we go. Push it, push your elbow up and back so that it helps that tricep stretch. Yeah, if you have a gym or a space that you think would work well as a background here, if it's your gym, make sure and speak to the gym owner, okay? Because that's, yeah. And you need to leave enough space for me to kind of comp in the rowing machine. So like imagine this background without a rowing machine in it. That's kind of the framing it needs to be. And yeah, feel free to email it to info@rowalong.com. You could do, well, everybody could do your front room with the space, who knows? In fact, you could send a video if it's like a roaring fireplace in the background, and I could loop it, have it as a background. Why not? Why not? The only outside is a bit of a problem, just for the fact that I'm inside and from a lighting point of view, it's quite hard to light for outside. Because I need to light the green screen properly so I can key it out. So to then mess around with lighting to try and make it look like outside, it's just too difficult. I tried it once, it just didn't work. So anyway, there we go, that's the stretching done. Yeah, so yeah, by all means do. I mean, you don't have to, don't worry, no pressure, don't worry. Don't sit there and go, oh, I'm gonna have to tidy up. Yeah, you don't have to, it's fine, I'm perfectly fine with these backgrounds. And in fact, I used this one for the whole entire 30 minutes, so, sorry, the entire 30 sessions of 30 minutes, so it'll only be, when it comes to the next series, and I might actually just rerun the Christmas ones anyway. You could always send me like a nice shot of a Christmas scene, and I could be rowing in front of that, but anyway, sorry, I'm off on one. See, sometimes I get a little idea in my head, and it just doesn't I'm like a dog with a bone. Thank you so much for taking part in this one. Let me know what you did, because like I said, when I did it last year, I did it at 24 strokes a minute, 2K plus 12. Today I did it at 20 strokes a minute, 2K plus 18. So please let me know what you did, whether you enjoyed it. Tell me how you're enjoying this entire series as a whole, whether you're down, hey, with the kids, with the fact that I'm just doing the intros and outros and just replaying the old one. It just, seriously, it makes life so much easier for me to do it this way, especially because I've done it once already. And it means that then I can kind of mix up what I'm doing in between. I don't have to follow what I did. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Yeah, so thank you very much for being here. I do hope that you will continue on with this and go on to day 8 of the 30 days of 30-minute workouts, or if this is your first one, rewind all the way back to day 1 and go, oh, this is what it's about. Yeah, and yeah, I'm going to go out, I'm going to set off some fireworks, which is always fun with the kids, and then I'm going to have, I think it's pizza for dinner tonight. Yeah, so a nice ham, pesto and goat's cheese pizza, I think it is. Which is going to be lovely. Prosciutto, not ham. God, how common am I? Anyway, I will see you in a future video. Until then, take care, be well, bye-bye.